Hello, and welcome to that Eurovision podcast, Eurovision with a Slice of Life. My name is Rory, and I'm not doing too bad today. I've been interviewing people, getting around, getting on with my master's degree, so, we're doing pretty well today. And, joining me.
Jazzi, been a quiet-ish day, but just getting on with things, and I'm really excited to delve into today's topic because it is another one of my favourite things to talk about.
Hi, it's Rosie. Again, also very excited for today's topic. I have spent most of my day binge watching Four in a Bed while I've been working, so it feels weird not having my television on right now with people screaming at how bad B&Bs are and trying to find cobwebs in the tiniest place, but I'm sure I can't think of a good segue for that, so I'm just going to hand it back to Rory.
As someone who came to Rosie's house to record this episode, I can attest that she genuinely was watching Four in a Bed right before we started recording. So I can say that that's true.
I was baking cookies as well, though.
That is very true.
Yeah.
And they were very lovely cookies. She knows how to bake a cake. Well, a cookie,
it's been weeks now, and I've still not had any cookies.
What?
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Well, do you know what? We'll send some your way anyway, won't we? So it'll be fine. Again, we don't have a Tim this week because he's too busy trying to get ordained as a minister in order to officiate Duncan Lawrence's wedding. So first of all, congratulations to Duncan Lawrence, for getting engaged. All more power to you. Hopefully you don't end up murdering each other within the first year, because that seems to be the thing. So in this episode, we are going to be talking about a year. So we're going to go back to the year retrospectives, because it's been a while since we've had one. And we're going to go all the way back to Moscow in 2009. Now, Moscow actually was the first year since 2001 that actually didn't have a slogan. So that's kind of interesting. So they had a logo, and obviously that was a fantasy bird. And it was held in Moscow, and 42 countries, I believe, took part. It was supposed to be 43, and then good old-fashioned Georgia had to pull that we don't want a Putin business.
We go into detail in our Georgia episode. So if you want to hear more about that,
here we are. But and the winner of that was Alexander Rybak with Fairy Tale, which up until the change in scoring was actually the most, the winning song with the most points ever. So just to kind of get things going, what did you think about 2009 as a year?
I felt the finals were really strong. The semis weren't. Song-wise, it felt like all the right songs qualified for the final. And that in turn made it a very strong final, especially towards the latter half. It just felt like good song after good song after good song. And almost surprised that Alexander Rybak won with the lead that he did, because the songs within that year were just amazing. It's the strongest year that we had seen definitely up until that point. Not saying he didn't deserve to win, it's just a surprise it was by as much as he did.
I feel like it's aged really well as a year. I remember watching it when Eurovision again was going on, and so many of the songs still stood out as being really, really excellent. Some other aspects of the production, less so, haven't necessarily aged especially well, though I'm certain that Rory disagrees with me on the quality of the postcards.
I will not hear slander on this podcast about the 2009 postcards.
It's just the weird way she looks in the camera and her hair just flicks. And
they're so creative, though. Just going through the capital city, in their hair. I just think that's amazing.
It's so weird.
It's not.
It's so weird. Not.
It's amazing. It's something new, and it's something I kind of want to see again.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, right? Okay, sorry to hijack your point, okay, but like 2009 is the best year for postcards in my opinion. Of course, now 2009 was before artists were included in the postcards, but I think it was the best way of describing and showing off the country and kind of leaving you guessing almost of like which country could this be depending on the landmarks, you know. And as well, you know, we had Miss World 2008 Ksenia Sukhinova in there as well. And the music in the postcards was being done by Matthew Herbert, who is very well known as someone who deals in avant-garde music.
The music was good.
Yeah.
I will give it that.
And I can attest to this, that I personally think they're the best postcards of the entire Eurovision thing. So much so I literally did an entire ranking of them. If you want me to include that, I will include that on the article to this podcast, because I genuinely think I need to know if you agree with me on that. But, yeah, so, sorry, carry on.
No, that was pretty much the end of my point.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Oh, wait, also the other bit that's aged really well, but also really badly, is Dima Bilan's coat getting stuck.
Oh, God.
Iconic.
Like, it's the perfect example of when live TV goes wrong.
Oh no! It genuinely, it's when Channel 5 puts the, like, you know, these kind of, when live TV goes wrong, and they always start off with Eurovision, because Eurovision is like the shit show, isn't it? So they always start with like, oh, let's get things off with a bang, and then we always see Dima Bilan trying to get it on, and then just
like for years, like, no joke, I was like, was this staged? Because obviously I wasn't like big in the fandom in 2009. And I was like, was this staged? Was this meant to happen? Was the coat meant to get stuck there? And now I know it wasn't.
But in the end, it wasn't. Oh dear. But yeah, 2009 for me, it's very much a hit and miss year. Some of the songs that I love, I really love. And some of the songs that I don't really love, I'm kind of passive on, or I absolutely hate. So
yeah.
I'm going to be very intrigued to see how people think of, you know, of my top 3 of 2009. But 2009 as a year actually holds a lot of lovely memories for me. I actually watched all of the semi-finals and the final in Cyprus because I was on holiday there. And yeah, and so, you know, I have a lot of good memories of like making the hotel owner change the channel at, you know, 8 o'clock to basically get them to watch Eurovision, and everyone else seemed to enjoy it. So honestly, maybe it was for the best, you know. Yeah. Maybe I was converting people. So
a really sweet story, actually. 10-year-old Rory.
Genuinely, 10-year-old Rory, like in the midst of everyone, like, you know, supposed to be like club dancing off in the background, there was just me being like, imagine you and me, we're blind across
and then there's like moody, whingy 15-year-old me.
Oh no, bless, it was a good time. Yeah, so shall we all delve into our top 3s? So who wants to kick us off with the 3rd place?
I can kick us off. Yeah. My 3rd place is a song that's like grown on me over the years. I can't say it. It's Albania. Carry me with you in your dreams. Carry me in your dreams. Mm-hmm. I often get the title mixed up, but it's a song that I really, really like, and I just think it's like a bop. And it's like I've listened to it more at Eurovision events over the years rather than a song that I was like instantly attracted to in 2009, and now it's just a song that I play a lot on my playlist. It has like this ethnic bop side to it, and I think I'd really, really enjoy that. I personally think it also had like the music at the beginning is also a bit intriguing, a bit eerie. You're not quite sure what you're gonna get, but then it's just this big banger, and I feel like she was only 16 at the time, so she really pulled this off, like, really well. Like, and she got quite a decent result for Albania. I think she came, like, 17th, and they often don't even make the final, so...
imagine thinking like coming 17th is like, yay, national success.
Into San Marino.
Wasn't it like one? I swear it was like one of their best results at the time.
I think it was. I think Albania was kind of up and down. I think it was in the middle.
Because like they definitely weren't qualifying.
Yeah.
Prior.
But yeah. Sorry, go on.
It's one of those songs that I didn't pick up on first time around, but since Eurovision again, it's been in my head a lot.
It's a good song.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. So it's a good choice.
And not to mention as well, like Casey Tola has now gone on to become like a big star in Albania now. You know, she's winning a lot of these other kind of singing competitions, and you know, there's regular calls for her to come back every year now. And I wouldn't be opposed to seeing her back, you know?
Like, she's definitely still, like, young enough to, like, send, like, another massive pop banger that we'd all love.
Bangers are ageless. Anybody can send a banger.
I just had a terrible idea of what you just said there. Bangers are ageless, are they?
Yes. Okay, so my number 3, and it's been a bit of a difficult choice choosing between my 2 and my 3, which order they go in, and they're very different. And I'm gonna say my number 3 as the one that I listen to the least. So my number 3 is Estonia with Randiad and Urban Symphony. It's very my sort of music. There's lots of violins and string instruments.
Yeah.
It's folky, it's got pretty lyrics, it's got an attractive woman in a pretty dress singing all these like ethereal songs, and I'm here for it.
I love that. I think it's an amazing song. I think it's so dark. And I think it's so mysterious as well. And, you know, again, Estonia was in the middle of a non-qualification streak. And, you know, to come back to the competition with such class and, you know, a lot of kind of sensuality, that kind of thing. That's kind of what I get from that song.
It was sexy and folky at the same time, and I'm living for it.
And I don't know if this is the same for either of you two, but like I always sort of associate it with kind of Arabic music, because it has like sitar.
Yeah, I can see that.
And like I know that the song is talking about sort of nomads and migrants, people who are like moving all the time, you know, because of I don't really know really. I haven't gone too far into the lyrics. But, you know, maybe that has something to do with it, but it just hits, like, a certain sweet spot, like, musically. It's so good.
It's great.
Yeah.
Like, I just, like, love, like, how different it is to, like... I feel like anything we'd really seen in Eurovision before. Like, and I don't think we've seen anything like this in Eurovision again since. Like, it's so unique.
For me, it's kind of a modernised version of the sort of mid-90s. It's sort of got that Nocturne, The Voice sort of feel to it, but updated for the 2000s. And I love both of those entries. I'm gonna like Randiad.
Yeah. And I think as well with Randiad, it's like, it's kind of timeless now. Like even nowadays, people really come back to Randiad, and I think it's actually like a really good song. And you know, if a song is still holding up 11 years after it first competed, that shows that, you know, like it has the legs to keep going, you know.
Exactly.
But yeah, so my number 3, it's a song that, I mean, I kind of glossed over at the time, but since coming back to it and you know, being all sort of, you know, growing emotionally as a person and, you know, just enjoying happiness every day, you know, like, this is a lovely song for me. It's Portugal, Flor de Lis with Todas as Ruas do Amor. I absolutely love this. I think it's so happy and friendly and it's just something that you can't not smile to, you know, you can't not enjoy it. And, you know, again, it kind of shows off that kind of traditional element because it's fado music, but also, you know, folky as well. And, you know, she gets everyone going as well. It's I think it's a beautiful song. And also, shout out to the lead singer, Daniela Varela's mother, Teresa, who is so active on Facebook all the time. And she's honestly one of the most supportive people I've ever met in the Facebook fandom. She is so lovely. She says, happy birthday to you every year. Aww. She says, hope you're doing all right. You know, she comments under your photos and everything. And honestly, muito obrigada, Teresa.
She sounds like the sweetest.
She genuinely is, and like she puts up these hilarious TikToks with her other daughters, and I love it. She really commits to it, and I love her for that.
We stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so great song. It's a really good choice.
And it is back to me, is it?
I think so, yeah, for your number 2.
My number 2 is Lose Control by Wildo's people from Finland. It's one of those songs that, for me, at the age I was, just feels very nostalgic. Yes, it's a little bit chavvy, but we have to remember at the time I was 15 years old.
No excuse.
I was a teenager. This type of music just appealed to me, and I absolutely adore it. It is definitely nostalgia value as to why it's so high in my top. I think this is one of the best songs quality-wise in 2009? No. Absolutely not. But I love it.
I mean, when I think of Finland, all I think of is N-dubs, but B-Tech N-dubs.
I love N-dubs.
Why does that not surprise me coming from you, Jazzi? I don't know why I have the impression of a person who was into N-dubs as a teenager.
I wasn't a chav.
Oh, don't get me started on chavs. I gave a whole lecture on chavs today.
Oh, God.
I am not talking about them for another 3 hours.
Like, I just like the music. Like, I'm not going to go breaking into your nan taps or anything.
God. I don't understand how you're number 1. I'm sorry, that's a hard no. Oh, God. Anyway, Rosie, your number 2.
My number 2 is the absolute definition of the word extra. If you were to take a dictionary and open the page for extra, you would see this live performance, and it is Be My Valentine, Anti-Crisis Girl by Svetlana Loboda.
Yes.
It's a tune. I fucking love it. She could kill me and I would just say thank you. I absolutely love the song. Also, the lyrics are fantastic.
I love them.
There's the whole bit, I'll put you to the test, now you're under arrest.
Yes!
Just great! What rhymes?
I love that.
And also just the fact that she says bomb at the end of everything, but it sounds like bum, and that's hilarious. And yeah, it's such a great song.
She's so good. I love her. I think, she's just a sex symbol in every single way. I think you'd really love a couple of her other songs as well, though, because she's kind of gone along the same similar lines around that era. So I think you would really like a couple of those other songs. Like, check out Nemacho. That's a good song. Nice. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
It's like the noughties version of Maroove.
Kind of,
I see it.
But with
less lesbian fetishism.
Yeah.
And more just the male gaze.
Yeah.
But the sex still there.
Yeah, defo. Yeah. Also, fun fact, Svetlana Loboda actually remortgaged her house in order to pay for the props of the Hell Machines because they were literally that expensive.
Worth it. Fucking worth it.
I mean, honestly, Svetlana Loboda, step on us, please.
Please.
Oh, dear. So my number 2, it's probably one that not many of you will have heard of because it didn't make it to the final. I have a lot of really fond memories of this, and I do think that it was quite robbed, but genuinely as well, I think it's quite funny as well. It is Cyprus, Christina Metaxa, and Firefly. I really love the sort of gentle, delicate delivery of it. I think it's so kind of ethereal, but in a, like, not in a creepy, weird way, but in a, you know, relaxing, like, take you home and put you in bed and give you a nice warm milk kind of, you know, ethereal. And not to mention as well, you know, they were literally dancing on lit up Fox's mints. So genuinely, I mean, you literally cannot say no to anything like that.
What was the reaction in Cyprus when it didn't qualify?
I don't know, I was in the hotel. I think all of the expats were just there like,
Boo.
Yeah.
No taste.
Yeah, but Cyprus, you know, if you want to just send Christina Metaxa again, but with Eleni Forever, like, hype, then I'm down for that.
To be honest, as a person who doesn't really care for Cyprus's slut pop era, I will quite happily go back to that.
There we go. It's great.
Let's go to my first place.
Yes, let's do it.
My winner of 2009 is Always by Iselin Arash, Azerbaijan. Now, I love this song. It's just one of those, like, again, I feel like the same thing with Finland. It's always going to be quite nostalgic to me because it's like, feels like it's the first non-winner that I fell in love with, like, watching the contest at the time. And I just feel like the song will always carry a nostalgic value for me because, like, 2009 is like the first final that I really, really got into, and part of the reason for that is probably due to this song. So, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
It's a bop.
I don't think so.
I think there was some bops in 2009, and I would consider that amongst them.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Okay, so my number one, I am 100% aware is absolute trash.
Oh God.
And I am completely okay with that because it's my trash. And as much as I am folk music trash, I am also big band trash.
Oh, no.
So my winner is Miss Kiss Kiss Bang because fuck it, I love trumpets and it makes me happy. And I know it's bad and I know the lyrics are awful, but there is something about it that just hits that spot for me. And I really like it. And it isn't just Dieter Von Teese being on stage, I promise.
Oh, sure, Jan. Yeah, keep telling yourself that.
Sure, Jan.
No, I mean, I see the appeal for it. I mean, like, anything kind of, like, grand and, like, orchestrated, like, it definitely gives off that, like, you know, fancy, posh, Great Gatsby vibe. But also at the same time, it's like...
Well, Lewis and I both swing dance, so we both love that sort of music anyway. So it's just the sort of music I listen to a lot generally.
Literally just plays into your kind of like typical thing.
It really does.
Sorry, carry on, Jazzi.
Oh, I was just singing the song. It's a good song. I have to go with Rosie on this one. It's a really good song.
I do think it was underrated, to be fair. I think it should have done a bit better than it did. I think it came like third last.
It's 22nd, I think.
Something like that.
No, Kira's 22nd. It came...
Where did it come?
It came 20th.
Okay, so it came last. Well,
and yes, it should have done better.
I think it should have gotten like maybe like 16th, 15th, maybe. That would have been like a deserved place for that, I'd say.
That would have been a decent result for Germany at the time as well.
That's it, after coming last the year before.
Well, I've just realised as well that Germany is my winner 3 years in a row in 9, 10 and 11.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah.
Which is weird because now Germany very rarely sends anything that I care for that much. Okay, Violent Thing I quite enjoyed, but...
Save that for a Germany episode.
Before that, I think the last German entry I really got into was probably Ghost. So it had a few years of really not clicking for me, and just thinking how much I loved them at the beginning of the decade is kind of weird now.
Fair enough, interesting. I mean, we'll delve into that a little bit more when the Germany episode comes out, but you know, like, suffice to say, I actually really do love a lot of Germany songs from the 2010s and in kind of the 2000s as well, but depends. You're gonna run and hide.
I think you're singing it better than she did.
I'd have gotten more points than she did, let's be real.
I'm sorry. 0 points.
Oh, dear. My number one, it's one that, I mean, if you understood me, some people would say that I'm very into, very kind of dull, very, like, I was gonna say sensual music, but that's not
Rory's
right.
got a Eurovision sex playlist.
Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But no, like more into kind of like, music that's very, quiet and very lo-fi, that kind of thing. But
the exact opposite of me.
Yeah, but on the complete opposite end of the scale, I'll go for stuff that's like incredibly like high pace, but so long as it has like a cultural element in it. And this is where my number one really fucking comes to play, and it is hey 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 hara hara. Yeah, literally, yeah, it's Moldova, which Hora de Moldova by Nelly Ciobanu, and genuinely, I mean, if you don't get up and dance when this comes on, you just don't know how to live, okay? Like, it's so infectious, it's so fun, I love it, I think it's so, like, ahead of its time, it's so celebratory of its culture. And Nelly Ciobanu, I think she delivered it perfectly, and them all dressed up in the kind of the national gear as well. I think it was so great. And just as a little icing on the top of the cake, the background staging was so good. And the postcard was my favorite of all of the years. Like of all of that year's postcards as well. So,
It's also a bop.
Yeah.
Cannot deny it's a great song.
Yeah, genuinely. I mean, yeah, I just love it. I think it's so good. Plus, as well, I also really want her like really red hair as well. Like it was like that was a moment. That was a cultural reset.
You can probably buy that in a box. I do.
I could, but then also it's like. But yeah, no. So like obviously like with 2009 being held in Russia and everything, obviously there was a lot of kind of tension, I guess, between. The gays and everything and the government and whatever. But taking that sort of out of the equation, do you think that 2009 showed off a good representation of Russia? Because obviously there was a lot of kind of nervousness about like if Russia was going to, go on a bit of a propaganda thing.
I mean, they certainly didn't do that. They did, however, get a third of the world's LED screens for the staging.
They did.
Which was quite something. And actually looking back on that 11 years later with how heavily LEDs now feature in most staging, it's really weird thinking that was so significant at the time. As far as the hosting goes, honestly, it doesn't stick out to me. I don't remember a lot of it. Mamo as a host entry is great.
Oh,
really like it. Or would be in sort of my 4th or 5th place. So props for them to putting on such a great performance. But the hosting doesn't stand out as particularly good or particularly bad to me otherwise. It's not memorable.
Okay,
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, the hosting's not that memorable to me. I will say this, that I really like, and I feel like this might be a little bit controversial, but I really like the opening act. And I don't know if it's because I like circus things that are a little bit creepy or what, but I really enjoyed the opening act for the final. Yeah. And I do feel that's a bit of a controversial opinion because I see a lot of people talking that opening act down. And it's like, and saying it was unnecessary and it was too long. But I really enjoyed it. Obviously, Dima Bilan's coat was obviously a highlight. Not his performance of the song, because the song is not very good. But
He didn't look like the same man. That was the thing. He'd grown his hair out. Looked like he'd been in the solarium for like an hour too long. You know?
At least when Salvador Sobral did it, he had the excuse of having had a heart transplant.
Yeah, and well, he just took the ponytail out of his hair, but like that was it. Compared to Dima Bilan, it was like he'd gone like plastic surgery. But, see, yeah, I mean, the hosting in it, I think, was a bit iffy. The hosts were kind of stiff, especially within yeah, especially within the semi-finals. Natalia Vodyanova and oh god, I can't remember his name. Andrei Malachev, I think. They were just not at the thing. The only reason why they included Natalia Vodyanova was just because she was a model. She was a famous model at the time. And you could easily tell they weren't really used to hosting because there were some very awkward moments, definitely at least within the qualifier announcement section. But I think Also and Ivan Rogant did pretty well in the final. I think, you know, they were a little bit more enthralling. Shout out to that time when Ivan Rogant says, if you look after a DVD for really properly, a DVD can last for up to 1,000,000 years. And I was just like...
polluting.
And he was like, I know that. And then Alsu was just like, I did not know that. Oh my god, like what? But yeah, I mean, I think overall, I think Russia did like do a good job in sort of promoting its culture. You know, like in a lot of the opening acts within the semi-finals and in certain aspects as well in the interval acts as well. They had like a distinctly Russian element. So, you know, we had Tattoo come in. We had like the Red Army Choir come in as well, singing "They're Not Gonna Get Us," which is kind of strange.
They're not gonna Putin. Mashup time.
Oh my god, they're not gonna get us to Putin. Their thing. But yeah, again, that was when they literally brought on a full-on tank on stage. That was like pink and had flowers and everything. It was very like, oh, okay, right, where are we going with this? Yeah, but then as well as that, they also had, you know, people dressed up in Matryoshka dolls and dressed up as bears. So I guess, you know, they were being quite self-aware. And genuinely, I mean, that's all right. You know, like if you're self-aware and you're willing to take the piss out of yourselves, then I think, you know, you're doing something right.
Swedish Smorgasbord did it better, though.
I mean, true, but also like... But, yeah, no, I mean... So, obviously, 2009 was also a very strong year in terms of our top five. So, you know, our top five, we had the UK, we had Turkey, we had Azerbaijan, we had Iceland, and we had Norway. So, you know, looking back maybe like, you know, 11 years, do you think that top five would still stand up today? Or do you think that maybe, like, looking back on it now, maybe a few of the songs might have fallen a bit?
For fear of being lynched by the UK fans,
Uh-oh.
my time is not as... it's okay, but I don't think it was fifth place worthy in a year that was so strong.
I'm completely with you on that, and I mean, this is an Andrew Lloyd Webber hate life. I think he's not a very good composer, and I think he's a trash human being, and I dislike him being put on such a pedestal, and I have a lot of opinions on whether we should be celebrating people who are terrible human beings, but I feel like flying from New York to specifically to cut child benefit for poor people and then flying back to New York is trash. I think that is certifiable trash, and I don't care if he writes some good music. It's My Time is not good music. It is boring. It is so cliche, and Jade Ewan is fantastic. She is great. She sells it. She's got a great voice. She needs a better song. She could have done so much better with that, and I think that, yeah, it has aged incredibly badly. I also think that for fear of possibly also being attacked by other fans. I still think this is a really good song, I will say that. But I feel like Is It True possibly hasn't aged as well as some of the others. I feel like it's possibly now a little too cliche. I feel like ballads in Eurovision have evolved quite a lot since then, and I feel like Is It True, as beautiful as it is and as amazing as Johanna's voice is, I don't feel like it has held up quite as well over time as some of the others have.
Ooh, we got a full-on, argument there. I love that.
Oh, it's not even an argument. I just hate Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah.
I just really hate Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Understandable. Well, I mean, fun fact.
He is a awful person. Andrew Lloyd Webber, How, oh.
Fact, he wrote It's My Time in 2 hours.
I'm not fucking surprised. You can tell.
Yeah. I mean...
And I'm going to be really bluntly honest here. The only reason juries voted for it wasn't because the song is good. It's because they were worried the UK would withdraw and they'd lose the money. They'd have to pay more to compete in the next year.
We don't need to be feeding in now to this idea that, no one likes the UK. We're trying to change things here.
I just have a lot of opinions about putting shitty people on the Eurovision stage when there are so many great musicians and artists out there who are not shitty people, and that applies to every person who has been on the Eurovision stage and is a shit human being.
True. Sorry, go on, Jazzy.
There's times where I can separate the song from the artist, but I don't like the song either.
Yeah.
So, why should I?
Yeah, exactly. I think for me, it's quite funny actually because right before we started recording, Tim actually sent a message into our chat, basically saying, "Hope you guys say that the UK deserve to come higher than 5th." So it's going to be quite interesting to see how he's not doing. When he listens.
Tim might never come back.
Yeah. There won't be Tim time anymore, and that's going to be quite sad. But I think. See, if I think genuinely the UK song, it wasn't bad. It was incredibly contrived though, and it was definitely a sign of that the Louis Walsh effect of we can write a generic song and it'll do fantastic. Like an X Factor winner vibe. Personally, I looking back on it now, I do think that the top 5 should have been changed, perhaps. If you've listened to the Growers and Followers episode, you'll know that Alexander Rybak is no longer my favourite kind of winner for this year. I think it was incredibly, overrated for what it was. But it still should have come top 10 for sure. But I do think that a lot of the hype is now starting to be rather unjustified for it. Again, I actually personally really enjoyed Is It True? I don't know what. It's a bit similar to Norway 2008 in the sense that I can keep seeing Bridget Jones in that. So I'm okay with that. I didn't like Azerbaijan. I don't really like Turkey. I'm passable on the UK. So genuinely, I think that top 5 now looking back on it, I don't think that... I think that's part of the reason why I think 2009 is a bit of a hit and miss year. Because the top 5 are so kind of... You have to be in the right mood for them, I think. But that's just my opinion. You all can, lynch me if you want. Because, I mean, I've already cancelled myself several times on this podcast, so it's fine. But yeah, just to kind of, wrap things up. If Russia was to host again anytime soon, and, hopefully they will, but, they will also have to respect LGBT people who come in, because, that seems to be a problem with them at the moment. But time and a place. If Russia was to host again, what do you think they should take from hosting in 2009?
It's really hard to say, because I feel like what made 2009 as good as it was the songs itself. I guess maybe how they staged the songs, because I do think there was some really, really good staging in 2009. And I know that's partly to do with Russia. I feel like finding hosts that have chemistry with each other and can like bounce off each other and it not feel awkward would be a tip I would maybe give. But I feel like the strongest component of 2009 is really hard for them to take on to next year, because you never know what songs are going to enter national finals, what songs are going to be written, etc. So it's hard to like work on their strongest element when I think their strongest element is something that can't really be controlled.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like it's hard to say because, quite honestly, I am not enthused about the idea of Russia hosting again the way things are at the moment. Not least because I would like to go and actually watch a Eurovision one day, and I would like to go and do that in a country where I feel safe and accepted for who I am. So I almost don't put thought into the idea of Russia hosting because actually it terrifies me. So... yeah, it is really difficult to say. Better hosts, though, would always be appreciated.
Charisma is what we need in Russia, and apparently that doesn't come in spades. Yeah, I'm kind of similar to Rosie in the sense that, you know, I hopefully would get to a point where I would be able to attend Eurovision almost every year, maybe depending on, you know, the cost and efficiency and whatever. But I kind of automatically rule out ever going to Russia again. So, you know, if Russia was to win, I don't think I would ever see myself going. But if Russia was to take a couple of things, I'd probably say, first off, just, you know, be more tolerant to the people that you're hosting, because, you know, they're giving you money. So that, if anything, should be like a godsend. And second, don't feel the need to throw everything in the kitchen sink at Eurovision. As well, we've seen, like, obviously 2007 to 2012 was that kind of era when bigger was better. So, you know, we had, you know, Baku Crystal Hall was made especially for the contest. In Dusseldorf, it was held in a massive sports arena, as in 2010. 2009, it was held in an Olympic stadium, you know? I think, you know, obviously still have it in an indoor arena, but have one that it's not just like throwing money at the contest is not going to make it better. So if you save your money and put the money that you are spending into other things that will actually really benefit the contest and the people's quality and enjoyment of the contest, then that, I think, will really elevate people's sort of expectations of it. And again, you know, charisma, definitely needed. And also, I mean, just have better songs as well, you know, because I think, but I know that's not necessarily something that Russia can do, but, you know, not unless there's like a song police thing that's going on, but,
beep,
you know,
beep, song police.
We're gonna try and not get into a 1984 situation here, so it's gonna be fine. But yeah, so do we have any sort of final points just before we wrap up this episode?
Lavoie was underrated and deserved better.
Who?
Lavoie.
Oh, Lavoie. Oh, yeah. Greta Thunberg represent.
We stand both Greta Thunberg and Milena Ernman on this podcast, but also Lavoie is a great bopera song.
Bopera. I love that.
Slovenia should have qualified. Love Symphony. Yeah, I just think that's just such an amazing song. Underrated. I like like the violins. I know some people don't like songs like being fully instrumental in Eurovision, but I just think it's really epic and I really enjoy it.
I mean, you're entitled to that wrong opinion, but you know.
This podcast got vicious. If you go back and listen to our first episode where we're sort of meeting each other for the first time when we're all really shy talking about our opinions, and now we're like 30 episodes in and it's just like,
we're like, fuck you!
You're cancelled! I feel like Rory's just spent this episode secretly judging me, and sometimes he just can't hide the fact that he's judging me.
Me?
Love you, Rory.
I love you. I love you lots.
But I'm still gonna stand Lose Control.
Okay. You go for that, hon. For me, I'll always love 2009. 2009 was the year that got me on Irish television singing Jan Jan by Ingan Anush. So that was fantastic. I love that.
How much video evidence of you singing Eurovision songs is there? Because I'm getting the impression quite a lot.
Honestly, I get around.
Like, I've seen you do 1944. I've seen you do Habba Habba.
Yeah. I mean, just keep an eye out. Honestly, I'm coming to a television set near you. It's fine. 2009 was such a good year though, because that's when I sang on like the Irish version of Britain's Got Talent. So it's quite good, and I sang in English and Armenian, and I'm so thankful that there's no video proof of this anymore, because my mum accidentally taped over the video. But it's of a little 10-year-old Rory, spiky hair and everything, just singing Jan Jan, and
everybody move your body.
I wasn't doing the hand gestures or anything like that, so luckily, no one's going to be seeing that anytime soon. But genuinely, I really do like 2009. I like it, but it's not my favorite year. So if it's on, I can enjoy it and whatever. But I still have to say, to this very day, y'all need to stand the postcards more, okay? I'm not... I know I'm going back up to this tree again, but, I will die on this hill.
The problem with this being a podcast is I can do whatever is, useless impression of the podcast, so no one can actually see this aside from Rory, who sat right next to me.
Yeah, and I'm loving it. I'm just seeing everything that she's doing, so it's fine. I'm just like, yes. For context, we're swishing our hair ridiculously back and forth.
On my sofa. I think I just pulled my knee swishing my hair. I swished my hair and my knee hurt.
That's not even the same body part.
I'm sat cross-legged.
You're all swishing your hair.
I moved to the side and I think my knee just went ah!
We literally can't even be trusted to sit and talk without injuring ourselves. Do you know what? I'm going to have to take it to the A&E department now. I might as well end this now. I might as well finish it up. Fucking hell. But, so that takes us to the end of this episode of That Eurovision podcast. I'd really like to thank Jazzi and Rosie for, delving back into the archives and coming out in 2009. Hopefully we can leave the bomber jackets where they are and the end-ups.
Na na na.
Oh no. But please do continue to follow us on all of our social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at That Euro Podcast. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well, so please do continue to follow us there so you always get notified for whenever a new episode comes out. In the next couple of weeks we'll be kind of going back into the country retrospectives and a couple of year retrospectives as well, but we also do still have a few surprises for you as well, so do stay tuned because we've got a good few different ideas coming up here and I'm very interested in them. But so shall we all say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.